All right. Welcome everybody who is watching to or listening to episode 13, lucky number 13 of 1 Minute Sports Podcast. It's just me and Grover today. Everybody else bailed. They got weekend plans, not like us. But today we're just going to be doing, basketball, hockey, basically everything except the Super Bowl. And then tomorrow we're going to get the whole team together again like we did last week. And then do our Super Bowl bash, our Super Bowl preview. Steve, how you been since we've seen you pretty much dead in the last podcast?
I'm I'm good today. I think we ought to rename the show again, just the Grover Steven Sports Spectacular, because I'm the only one who consistently shows up on these things. Everyone else bail all the time. It's pretty much just me as the one consistent part.
I suggest a podcast literally every single day of the week. Everybody's like, oh, I can't.
Because you suggest it at preposterous times.
Yeah, well, I don't know when
Hey,
else
let's
to do it.
podcast at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. No one's going out, right?
I don't know. It was 9 o'clock, okay? It wasn't 10 o'clock. I just gotten out of class. I wanted to do some podcasting. So, I'm sorry. I'm a little noodly. I think I'm coming down with something. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to do Isles Rangers first. Go ahead.
It was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath.
It
Halak
sucked.
was pissed at that he didn't get the shot. They just killed him the entire game. I mean,
I
Halak was unstoppable.
I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna pretend like I watched it. I watched the highlights. Because I was just like, I don't have my TV up here yet. I'm getting my TV up here today. And the only way I could have watched it was if I had made the walk to Applebee's in the. Oh, you're gone. And you're back?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
back now. Wi-Fi's not that good. What was the last thing you got before I cut out?
Um, I was going on how I didn't watch the game, but
Oh.
I'm happy I didn't. I made the conscious decision because I just knew they were going to lose the game.
Yeah, I want the Rangers in the playoffs. I need to go 9-0 against the Rangers. I want it so badly. Can you imagine that? Okay, get them in the playoffs, go and sweep them, and sweep them in the regular season too.
I'm afraid. I'm legitimately afraid. Um, I've been trying to put up this wall all season, thinking, maybe we could beat them in the playoffs. They haven't showed me anything. What have they scored 2 goals against the Islanders? I'm scared. We have to. If we run into the Islanders in the playoffs, we need somebody else to beat them if we want to go to the Stanley Cup. We just can't beat them.
They're
I
good,
don't know.
and they're deep too. Like Okposo went down, and they still have a deadly attack still because they just got Grabowski back from his injury. They have 13 forwards that are all good to fill 12 roles. So, I mean, the Okposo injury it's a big hit. He's one of the top. He's a second scorer. He's one of the top guys on the team you wouldn't want to lose for a long time. But it's not like detrimental. It's not like it was last year when Tavares went down and there was we didn't have any depth. There was nothing we could really do. Like we have 12 guys who are all doing great.
The
13
only
guys are all
thing
doing
that
great.
makes me feel a little bit better about that game is the fact that we played the Canadians last night and we looked like absolute dog poo. So it kind of
Lost
makes
to
me
the
think
Canadians?
that we're just falling flat out of the break, and we just need to get our engines rolling again, and then we'll be the team we want to be by the playoffs. But I don't know if we can make that much of a dramatic change where I can see us beating the Islanders 4 times before they beat us. I don't know. I don't know what the
Um,
standings look like right now. Do you know who would have who in the playoffs?
no, well, I think they're saying that right now. I think the Islanders would probably play either Boston or Washington. I don't know who the Rangers would get.
I think the Rangers would get. I think the Canadians. I think the Rangers would have the Canadians. Um,
I've been saying it all season. The Canadians, like just the way they match up against the Islanders, they're the only team I'm afraid of. Like I don't know if we play the Canadians, it's the only team I'll go into the series. Like I don't know if we can win this series because they just match up so well against the Islanders and they
I feel
beat us.
the opposite. I feel the opposite. I think. I mean, even after we played like crap last night, and we still only lost 1-0 on kind of a goal in the third period. But we played like crap, and we still barely lost to them. So it's like I think there are teams that I want in the playoffs. There's teams I want the Canadians. I want the Penguins. Both the Islanders and the Rangers just feast on the Penguins.
Yeah.
And I don't want the Lightning. I don't want the top two teams in the East. Is that so crazy? But yeah, I don't know. I think the Islanders would match up well against obviously the Penguins, the Rangers. Now, I don't know about the Bruins. I think the Bruins should.
We lost to the Bruins last night. They first period. They just demolished us in the first period. It was 2-0, and they were just outplaying us in like every possible way. And then the second period, Isles came back and tied it, but the Bruins scored with 20 seconds left in the period, and then they scored again with like 20 seconds into the third, and that just took all the air out, and they were just flat for the third period. But I mean that'd be a good series. I think the Islanders could still beat the Bruins.
Well, the thing is about that is I think that the Islanders are more talented than the Bruins. But the Bruins
have so much experience.
There's so much experience. They like you said last night. Like you never count them out of a game. And I think over the course of a series, especially with a young team like the Islanders, who don't have much playoff experience really, like
they don't have any. I mean, I mean, a handful of them. I think most of them were actually on the team that made it 2 years ago. That should have beat the Penguins, but didn't.
But like, yeah, it's really. Like the Bruins would make it a series in the fact that the Islanders would never be able to run away from them, and it would always be about how calm they could stay and whether or not they could take the punch in the mouth back and still win the series.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it with the Bruins. I mean, I was reading some article the other day, and it was talking about possible playoff matchups and stuff, and it was saying like Isles will get the Bruins and either the Bruins or the Caps in the first round, and then it won't get any easier as they'll get the Rangers and the Penguins in the second round. I would much rather play the Rangers and the Penguins. I think that those are two. Hockey, it's so matchup based, and if you don't match up well against a team that can just destroy you, which is why the Islanders are 0-2 against the Habs so far in the year. That's why they're the only team I'm really worried about. I think. Like, if you don't match up well, a team can just shut you down.
I think that although the Islanders have dominated the Rangers in the regular season this year, the calendar turns to April and things kind of change a little bit, you know? Like, could you let's say hypothetically they don't finish the season very strong, and then they get into the playoffs, they lose game 1. Like, it's just that kind of thing. Like, will they stay hot for the whole season, or will they be able to go through a losing streak by the time the season ends? I think a losing streak for the Islanders would be the best thing that happens to them.
Possibly. I mean, they had that right. They started hot, and then they were like when they won 4 in a row to start the season, and the only like somewhat skid they went on. Actually, they've been on 2. That was they won. They were like 5-2. I mean, 2-5 in like a stretch of games right after this season started, and then they lost those 3 straight games, giving up like 6 goals each. Right, like early December. But other than that, the Islanders have been like they only have like a handful of times they've lost like back-to-back games. Or, I mean, they've been hot all season, really. Yeah. Like there's no like they've been just. I mean, in November they went crazy. They lost like 1 game in November.
That's kind of like the Rangers in December, early January. But then the same thing with the Rangers. It's like almost the opposite end of the spectrum. We have been so inconsistent the whole season. I just don't know which team we're going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Will we get the hot Rangers, or will we get the Rangers that could get eliminated in the first round? So
Yeah, I mean, for the Islanders, Matt Capiano has done a great job this year with his team. He was like he got a lot of criticism the past couple years, but I mean, if he was just, I mean, working, and now every line has such good chemistry. And
yeah, I think it just, I mean, keeping him around, it took balls, but
yeah. I mean, after last season they were calling to fire Capiano and to fire Garth Snow. Garth Snow made awesome acquisitions over the offseason, and Capiano's done a great job with the team. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can't really complain about anything. I questioned it at the time. I wanted Garth Snow fired over the summer, and he came through, and so was Capiano.
So we done, I guess, hockey. We're getting close to the playoff. Well, not close to the playoffs, but we passed the All-Star break, so
yeah.
Here we go. It's gonna get fun. It's gonna get fun.
Okposo should be back mid to late March, so he'll be back for the playoffs.
But that other team that plays in Madison Square Garden,
best team in the NBA.
It's unbelievable. It's like who? What the fuck? Is this the same team that was playing from October to mid-January? Like, I don't get it.
The same team that won one game, like, from Thanksgiving to, like, last week.
It's crazy. Langston Galloway is now Jeremy Lin and Michael Jordan combined. It's like Carmelo Anthony is now dropping 20-plus a game. Just everybody. Lance Thomas is, first of all, he's a professional basketball player. And second of all, he's now one of our best basketball players. I don't know. I wrote yesterday that after this whole Phil Jackson Deflategate controversy, I wrote that I am 1,000,000% convinced that Phil Jackson is now deflating the balls, and that is why the Knicks are winning.
That's why they're winning?
That's what it is. There's no other explanation for why the Knicks can be winning this much unless, I don't know, steroids or witchcraft or voodoo.
I don't know. It's just, what is it, 4 to the last 5, 4 to the last 6, something like that.
And I think we're still in line for the number 1 pick. So
I think we're currently tied with Philly.
The Timberwolves
at the bottom. I think it's Philly. I know we're tied with Philly in the bottom of the East. I don't know about. We have 9 wins. We're 9-38. I'm gonna check right now, actually.
But
no, Minnesota is 8-37.
Okay, so we're. We're gonna have to start losing at some point. Maybe we trade away.
Don't worry. It's a lottery, and everyone knows that NBA lottery is rigged, and the Knicks will get the pick.
But we need at least a top 2 pick, or else there will be anarchy. Like people didn't really care when Patrick Ewing came to the Knicks, but now, like, I don't know. I think.
Did you hear Durant said the other day he would like to play for the Knicks?
I didn't. I thought he was a lock to go to Washington to play for his hometown team, but I guess he wants to come play with Melo and Jahlil Okafor and LaMarcus Aldridge and Gordon Dragic and just
because all these players are on the Knicks.
Because they're gonna be on the Knicks, and that's all that matters. They're gonna take pay cuts.
I think more than any fan base in all of sports, Knicks fans, we just like assume we're gonna get all these players, and we never get any of them. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting LeBron, we're getting all them.
The Yankees fans.
No, because the Yankees fans, they make the moves and they get the guys. Like Knicks fans, we're just like, we thought we were gonna get LeBron. We thought we were gonna get what's his name, Boozer, when Boozer was a big free agent. Glad we didn't.
Yeah, but
we're gonna get Pau Gasol this offseason, and we're gonna get Marc Gasol next offseason.
I'm just saying, like, Durant says he wants to come to New York. OKC is clearly done. They're out. The OKC fad is over. So he's like, you know what? I want to go make my money in the Big Apple at the mecca of basketball, which I think is the funniest phrase ever because it means nothing because the Knicks have less games televised on national TV than any other team in the NBA.
Well, it's the mecca because of college basketball.
Yeah. But really, it's just funny that basketball is so irrelevant in New York, yet for some reason the Knicks stay in the free agent conversation. I don't know how.
I love when like everyone refers to the Knicks as a storied franchise, and they're just not.
If it won championships in '73, and now those championships are being called into question because of another Deflategate scandal.
Storied franchise, number one. Let's I mean, there's one other team that plays in the Garden. Those are my St. John's Red Storm.
Who got their? I'm not gonna say they got their asses handed.
No, they were dominating Duke like the entire game, and then like the last 10 minutes they just decided to stop playing basketball.
Yeah, well, that was Coach K just being like, I want more people to tune in to my 1,000th win celebration ceremony.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna keep the viewers in until the end of the game, and then I'm gonna just run train on the Johnnies.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of floundering right now. I mean they're losing a lot of games, but they're losing every game by like 5 points.
But they're also the thing is they're in the Big East, which doesn't give. I'm not saying the Big East is awful because they're better than they were supposed to be preseason, but it's not the ACC, it's not the Big Ten, it's probably the third. No, it's probably not after it's probably after the Pac-10, I think, but it's not the conference it was 8 years ago where you could go on a losing streak and then in 2 weeks beat 3 ranked teams and just be back in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, they have. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a team I would watch out for in the tournament because they're good. They're not playing anywhere close to their potential, but they're a good team. I'd watch for them in the Big East tournament. I meant, and if they make some noise in the Big East tournament, they'll probably get into the big tournament.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of teams in the Big East who can make noise in the NCAA tournament. Like Georgetown, I think Georgetown could be a sneaky Elite Eight team. Like I think they could beat anybody.
Yeah.
Villanova
always loses in like the second round.
They always lose early, but you got to give them a chance because they're going to be number 1 seed or number 2 seed. Obviously, St. John's could make noise if they get hot, if they get in. Who else is it? Who else is in there? Butler,
yeah. Creighton,
who's somehow good. God knows how they're good.
Seton Hall's not bad either.
Seton Hall's not bad. There are a bunch of teams like the Big East could get anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 teams in, and
no, Seton Hall's actually not that great. Oh yes, they are. They're 14-6. Xavier is 14-7.
Yeah, and Seton Hall's has the win over Villanova
and St. John's.
St. John's.
Yeah.
So,
but Seton Hall has lost 3 out of the last 4. Two of them being to Butler.
There's still time though. It's the end of every team has one more month. You got 1 month. You probably got, I don't know, what is that? 8 games left probably per team, 8 or 9 games before conference tournaments start. It's going to be, I love, right after the Super Bowl, it's college basketball during the week. Also, obviously, there's NHL and NBA, but that march up to the NCAA tournament is fun. So
I love that weekend when all the conference tournaments are on like the same day, the same weekend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that week. They're like it's like 3 days in a row of just every team plays.
I like the week before that when it's all of the lower like conferences because like all those conferences play their tournaments like the MAC. We play our tournament like 2 weeks before the ACC tournament, but like all those, it's so like insane. Every game is so crazy because all these teams are so mediocre, and they turn in these like crazy games. Everybody is like, because there's no other chance they get into the tournament unless they win the conference tournament, and so you've got these schools that you didn't even can't even pronounce the names to. The students going like crazy. It's awesome. It's awesome.
What'd you think of who do you think are the best teams in college basketball right now? I mean, Duke just lost.
Duke just lost, and
I don't know how I feel about Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame might be legit.
Notre Dame could be legit. That was a
Notre Dame. You know what? No, Notre Dame they're always like have a big regular season and then they fall if they lose in the first or second round. Like they got that number 2 seed like 3 or 4 years ago. They were like number 4 in the country all year. I think they might have gotten a number 1 seed actually. No, I think it was a 2 seed, and they lost like their first game or their second game.
Well, because the thing that scares me about Notre Dame is that, like they were showing the graphics on ESPN during the Duke game, they come back to win every single game, and I don't like that about teams at the top of the NCAA tournament because, like, you can only fall behind so many times before it starts catching up to you. And
so kind of like Florida State in football.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess you got to go Kentucky. I want Duke to be up there, but they're wildly inconsistent. Like if they play defense, then they can win. But right now, like they just throw Jahlil Okafor out there, who's not great at defense, and they're just man the middle. Just don't let anybody score.
Well, you got Chris's Badgers.
Chris's Badgers.
Definitely up there.
They've got to be up there. They've been quietly up there all season.
Yep. Yep. I mean, they lost to Rutgers last week or 2 weeks ago. But other than that, their only other losses to Duke.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Let's get the top 25 rankings on.
I got it up.
You got them up?
Kentucky, Virginia, Gonzaga, Duke, Wisconsin are the top 5. After that, it's Arizona, Villanova, Notre Dame, Kansas, Louisville.
Okay. I think. Of course, football comes up. All right. So I would think Virginia was supposed to be that like senior team last year that they lose everybody, and now like they're just a middle of the road team, and you just can't score on them.
Yeah, I like that. They play tough defense,
and that's what you need to win in the NCAA tournament.
Their defense is.
Whenever I'm filling out my bracket, what I do is I look at points per game and I look at rebounds. Like I think you need to play defense in the NCAA tournament and you need to rebound.
Yep. Yep. They beat. I mean, it was Harvard. But they beat Harvard 76-27.
That's unbelievable. Louisville
and they just held Georgia Tech to 28 points last week.
They're gonna make some noise. We're gonna see. Let's see that they have Duke on Saturday, and Duke is one of the best offensive teams in the country. So that's gonna be a great matchup. That's gonna see how good Virginia's defense is and how good Duke's offense is. So that's gonna be a great game.
What do you think about Kentucky? Do you think they can go undefeated?
I don't think they can go. Well,
I mean, they're winning. They were winning some close games a couple weeks ago, but they don't play another ranked team for the rest of the season. I mean, Florida's not good, and
Kentucky's going through the Florida State treatment of football this year. Like they've got this cakewalk through their conference. Then so it's really just going to come down to will they avoid an upset against Vanderbilt or something, like some team that just comes out of nowhere and has a great hot night and just catches them on an off night, and will they be able to win in the NCAA tournament? Like, that's what it comes down to. I think
Coach Cal's he's such a good coach. I think
he's the best coach of this millennium generation. Like, he's not the best coach.
He's the best recruiter ever.
Oh, ever. He's easily. But I'm saying if I needed a coach for one game, I'd choose Coach K. But if I needed a coach,
because he's not as good of a X's and O's coach, but he's the best recruiter.
But if I needed the best coach from 2007 to present, then I'm going Calipari. But if I needed a coach from 1950 to now, then he's not really in that conversation.
Yeah, well, again, he's not that great of an X and O's coach, but he's the best recruiter, and he gets the best team to put on the court. That's kind of just what he does.
All right. That I guess we'll wrap it up.
That pretty much wraps it up. There's nothing else really going on. Baseball's quiet. I mean, we're doing the Super Bowl preview tomorrow.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. We'll all be hungover tomorrow morning, giving you a great podcast. Hopefully, we're able to hear him tomorrow, and we won't have to do a weekend at Bernie's style thing that we had to do last week. But I guess until tomorrow, when you get to see our beautiful mugs again, stay classy.